The only thing I can do right now is just sit and watch.
Just, hey kids, we're going to a hotel because our house is ruined.
Could you imagine?
It's season 3, baby.
Welcome to this episode of the Cool Dad Shirt Podcast. Yeah, good morning and welcome to season 3.
Yeah. I'm sporting a hoodie. My daughter got it for me for Christmas. She said I finally look chill and cool. So I got that going for me.
Yeah, it looks more like a charcoal as opposed to a black. Yeah, nice.
Branching out. Yes. Season 3 is going to be a slight shift to charcoal.
Season 3, the Monochromatic Years. I am drinking an iced coffee and oat milk.
Why?
It tastes as disgusting as it sounds. And I have nothing against oat milk, but it really modifies the flavor of coffee. And
it does.
It just overpowers the coffee terribly.
I think people like it because the consistency is close to the the way milk feels in coffee. So maybe it's a texture thing. It sure as heck ain't the flavor thing.
No, it's not. I'm not drinking it for the flavor. I'm going to go on record and saying that I am not a fan of wearing slippers out into the public in everyday life.
Agreed.
Is this phenomenon happening where you are?
Oh, yeah. It is complete slacker wear. It makes me crazy.
I don't understand it. As soon as you wear the slippers outside, they're no longer a slipper. It's an outdoor shoe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a one-time deal. Yeah.
The idea of slippers is to only wear something inside so you're not spreading germs throughout your whole house.
Yeah, you have clean shoes, keep your feet warm. But yes, if you just went down to the local gas station and it not slippers anymore.
Yeah. Filling it up over at pump number 3, standing in the last landscaper's spillage. It's not something I want in my house.
God only knows what was on that pavement 10 minutes ago.
Don't understand it. They're wearing them everywhere. The bagel store, the gas station, the grocery store. I'm perplexed by this. And forget just how people are dressing. That aside, just the slippers they've gone too far at that point, I think.
Yeah, it appears as though you just rolled out of bed.
And overall, I was thinking about how fancy people used to dress like in the 20s.
Yeah.
Even when they were doing physical labor, it was like wool dress pants, dress shoes, suspenders. The guy's like carrying 50-pound bags of rice, loading them on a truck. He's got pleated wool pants on and some dress shoes. A nice wingtip shoe.
Agreed. It was a different time for sure.
Clancy, when you finish that load, we got a second one coming in.
Let me grab my fedora.
As relaxed as they got, maybe if it was very physical, they would take their dress shirt off and just have one of those white tank tops.
Yes. And they still look better than the people walking around the store.
They still look so cool, right? There's a boxing match. 2 dudes, put up your dukes. They got a pleated wool trouser on.
Wool trousers.
And suspenders and a white tank top. That's how fighters dressed in the 20s.
You know what used to drive me crazy, but doesn't drive me crazy anymore?
What's that, Rich?
When I call my parents and they yell at each other from room to room, that used to really bother me. And I forced myself into a mind reset that just think this is funny. And you know what? It's really funny now.
Just embrace the moment.
I'm actually hoping.
You got to enter the conversation, just like a real loaded question that is going to trigger.
One of them has to check with the other one who's definitely in the other room. So they will definitely yell and they definitely will not hear what's happening. Dude, it's hilarious.
Can you tell me when the last time you changed that HVAC vent was?
Yes,
hold on a second. Let me check.
Where we went? No, the vent. On ABC? No, HVAC. God forbid somebody walks to the other room. I also noticed a shift recently. Remember we talked before about people in the service industry saying, I would joke around there and say, oh, absolutely. Can I get a small whatever? Absolutely. I've noticed a shift. I'm getting a lot of course. Can I get a medium size? Of course.
Oh.
I've noticed that in the past month or so. I don't know if it's some kind of societal shift, but keep an eye out for it.
A shift in customer service training, maybe.
I guess. Check in with Jenna. See what the prevailing acknowledgement is.
I'll see what they're doing at the local Starbucks. This is a great marketing exercise. Is it accompanied with an eye roll, or is it like a very friendly, accommodating, happy to help, of course?
Oh, it's a very accommodating, of course. It's no problem. Absolutely. I will do this. I gotcha.
It's not the same, of course, as when you ask your daughter to bang out those dishes that are piling up in the sink.
That's where the eye roll, the attitude, and everything else comes in. Yes.
It's very relative, of course, is what you're saying. When you're getting paid $20 an hour, the of course comes with a little more pleasure. When you're forced to do it for free, it's a different, of course.
With a big side helping of attitude.
You've never told me about your cold plunge that you mentioned a few weeks ago. So I got that number 2 on my list right after slippers.
So, yeah, we talked about it before, the health trend of the cold plunge. And we talked about it many, many months ago. And I decided here on the little Christmas break over the past few weeks, I've actually done it twice. I sat down and I did about 37 seconds of research on this. You should definitely do more if you want to try it, because don't listen to us clowns about health-related things. But anyway, I found out that you don't need to actually do an ice bath all the way down to like 36 or 37 degrees, whatever that is. Just super cold water right from the tap. You're coming in the low 50s typically. And the frightening shock that your body feels is similar. So no need to go fill it with ice if you don't want to, which I recommend. So I wanted to see how it went. And turns out the first 10 seconds are absolute misery, and it's super, super uncomfortable. But after like 10 to 30 seconds, your body starts to kind of come to terms with it. And both times I went a full 3 minutes. I got to tell you, you feel like $1 million getting out of there. When all the heat starts coming back in and the blood really starts going, dude, you feel like $1 million. It's pretty great.
You've gone 3 minutes is what you're saying.
3 minutes, both times. Yep.
Did you plunge right into cold water, or did it transition from warm to getting colder?
No, I filled the bathtub. And the first time, here's a little tip for you. The first time you get in, your feet are freezing, you sit down, you're freezing, you have to do it really fast.
Yeah,
you have to just get in.
Forget about any acclimation. This is not happening.
Right. Well, the acclimation actually happens faster if you just get in.
Get in?
If you slow roll it, the agony is just prolonged. So I recommend which I think is kind of the point anyway. It's the shock. Your body kind of freaks out. It's supposed to release all this anti-inflammatory stuff. Your blood gets concentrated in your head and heart, and that's where all the benefits come from, I guess.
Crank up the cold water, fill up the tub, hop in, try to stay 2-3 minutes, and get out.
Your breath gets taken away. Like when you first sit down, when you lay down, you visibly struggle to catch your breath.
Should you make sure someone is in within earshot the first couple of times you do this? I'll be like, honey, just stay within an earshot.
If you could type 911, don't hit send.
No, I'm going to call.
Keep your thumb right over that button.
Hover right over that send button. So as your arms go limp, it'll accidentally hit the send. And make sure your arm is dangling outside the tub when you do that.
Yes. We are problem solvers.
I'm going to give it a try. We've discussed this before. I used to do my ocean water training. I would go in the shower and then slowly ratchet it down into as cold as it could go and see how long I could stay in there. That's a bit of cheating, I think, when it comes to an actual cold plunge. I think your point is accurate. It's got to be cold from the start, and you got to just get right in and have that initial shock.
I think it's a key. I tried that over the summer too. After you mentioned that, dialing it down, and that felt great too.
Yeah,
but the intensity, I think, is what makes the difference.
And I'm a little nervous to do it. It's pretty cold this week,
dude. It's horrible. It's really.
I might wait till June for my first plunge. Especially over by you. You're keeping that thermostat at 65. So when you get out, there's not much difference between the water temperature and the air temperature. In fact, getting out of bed over at your house is like a cold plunge.
Well, it's 65 overnight. During the day, it's 68-ish. And then if company comes over, I will push it to 70. But yeah, that's only 15 degrees different than what I just hopped out of the tub.
It's not
You're right.
much when you think about it.
It's not.
It's not like my dad's 77. It's sweltering over there.
It's like going to Miami in the wintertime.
I had to replace the faucet on his sink. So I was under the sink for a while working at that. I had the torch in there. I heated up the pipes to pull the old valves off. So between that and the heat, at one point I got up and walked outside. I thought I was going to either pass out or throw up because
Oh,
it was so hot. My dad's like, "Are you all right? Let me call somebody." I said, "No, it's just, it's so hot in there. I think I'm going to pass out. I got to get some air." It's like 29 degrees out there. I'm out there in t-shirt and shorts.
steam
just
rolling
trying-
off of you.
You could literally see, the steam coming off my shoulders. He's like, "I'm worried about you." I'm like, "You should be. I'm not feeling so great right now.
You don't need to call an ambulance. Just crack a window, would you?
Just fill up the tub. I got to do an ice plunge."
I got it. This is a great time for an.
This is a good time. I'm rolling around the cold lawn just to cool off. I got some air, leveled off, came back inside, and of course finished the job. It got so hot, and from being under there, I felt really awful for a short while.
Did you re-sweat the pipes or did you shark bite them?
I put shark bites on. I'm still so nervous about them. I got 2 upstairs in my kitchen and now 2 in his kitchen. I've done the research. I've heard from a lot of people. They seem to say they work great. I've also received your expert opinion on them. So
Yeah. Well,
I put 2 on, the nice little quarter turns, nice and easy, geez. The instructions for installation are one line. Slide into place.
that's it.
Oh, okay. Then what?
What do I do with this roll of solder, this butane torch, and all the burns on my hand?
As you know, if you're trying to sweat a bead on a pipe, if there's any bit of water in there, it will never happen.
Yep, never. It will not seal.
So they worked great.
We mentioned this, and I had the exact same feeling as you. I would take pride in my ability to solder pipes. It was fun, interesting. It was a bit of an art form. I wanted to resist the modern new stuff. You can't.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It clicks, and you're finished.
I don't know if there's 2 different types of shark bites, but I bought the ones that said Shark Bite Max on them. I felt like they might be even better than like the regular shark bites.
We charged you $1 more for peace of mind.
Exactly. It was worth it.
Totally.
Last thing I want is those things shooting off in the middle of the night. And I got bigger issues at my house. I got a plumber coming to my house because I can't shut the main water off.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I got 2 valves and neither one of them shut the water. I had to crank both of them down as hard as humanly possible before just snapping the metal.
Yeah, you want a pro for that one.
If my shark bite comes flying off the pipe in the middle of the night, I have some sort of recourse. Otherwise, the only thing I could do right now is just sit and watch. It's a scary amount of water that comes out of a 1/4-inch pipe.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Let me get my drums secured upstairs.
Dad's going to be running up and down the stairs a few times, but
Do you eat oatmeal ever?
not very often. No, actually, I don't. I cannot actually not remember the last time I had oatmeal.
Okay. As good or bad as oatmeal is for you, and the stuff that I buy is certainly not good. It's the old Quaker Oat instant package. I do have a fondness for it. I do really enjoy having it. The one thing that I've noticed, I follow those directions to a T every day. You put the packet in, 2/3 of, I use milk, 2/3 of a cup of milk, and then, you microwave it for like a minute. It's amazing how following those exact directions yields a completely different result in the oatmeal. Some days it's completely dry. Some days it's still wet. Some days it's perfect. It's very inconsistent. And I don't know. I'm guessing that depends on the age of the oats, maybe, or maybe they're stale, good, fresh. I don't know. But it's amazing how different the results are day to day on the same exact 2 ingredients.
Your side of the process is pretty simple. You measure one thing. Yeah. So I'm going to blame the quality control on the factory. I had an idea for possibly a pop-up feature that we would do once in a while on the show called, "What are you watching on YouTube these days?"
I like it.
You go down a wormhole, you kind of get hooked on something, the algorithm kicks in and gives you a pile more of that stuff. What are your? I got a couple things listed here. What are your go-tos when you're just chilling and you want to watch something?
It's usually a drum video or a Rick Beato video.
Okay. Yes.
I don't stray too far from those initial searches. I will say, and not to go too far off on a tangent here, what I do like about YouTube is when you put a video on or watch something, I'm much more happy with the suggestions that YouTube presents to me as opposed to Spotify. We spoke about this. When I
Yeah.
initially got Spotify, I got it because I wanted to put on Minus the Bear, like an indie rock group I love. And I would think after I listened to Minus the Bear, they might throw over a couple other indie rock bands similar that I would be interested in, something new that they would potentially expose me to. No, they'll pull 3 things from a previous playlist. It's nothing new. It's something that they've seen that I've already played. Like, oh, he played Minus the Bear. Let's throw in some REM next.
Right.
And what I like about YouTube is I can put in something like a hard bop jazz trio.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll start throwing a whole bunch. And there'll definitely be ones that I know, but maybe some new songs. They'll sneak in a couple artists that I've never heard of. And for that reason, I really do enjoy that.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And the 2 things, so when something novel does come in, they guess pretty right. One of the things that I've recently been fascinated with is filmmaking. I don't know why something threw something at me, but I found this guy, Lancelotti. I don't know, but the original little thumbnail teaser was breaking down the brilliant scene at the end of Inglourious Bastards and all the camera angles of that famous scene at the end of the movie where they're having a drink and the German meets the Brits. And he goes down. It's about a 4 or 5 minute scene. His breakdown is about 45 minutes of just the changing camera angles and why it was pointed this way, why the colors came in. The glass in front of the people is moving around. It's not accident. You have a whole new appreciation of filmmaking going down that. And so that's been one of my favorite new. And that turned into Breaking Bad. You know, the camera work in Breaking Bad was spectacular also. So you start going down and what an appreciation you have for the craft of filmmaking. That was my latest venture into a wormhole.
When we first started doing this, I told you that who knows what this would lead to. The one thing that I know that I definitely want to do is make a documentary.
I can't wait to see how that manifests itself. I know you're still figuring it out, but
I'm throwing it out there because I'm expecting your help.
Okay, all right, count me in.
After they lob over Quentin Tarantino, like I wonder where they go next.
I think if I kept going, you would see the brilliance of just great films, and you don't know why they're great. Like you just have a feeling about a movie or something or a song even, and you don't understand the production that went behind it. And when you understand the genius of like a Rick Rubin or a Brendan O'Brien, you start seeing how these things are crafted and you start understanding why they're amazing.
What was your initial search?
I don't think I was even searching. I was probably the other one I was going to talk about is Drumeo. I know you're a Drumeo fan.
Yeah.
I'm not even a drummer. They have a new feature that they've been doing, I don't know, for the past year or so, where they have famous drummers come in and play a song they've never heard before. And they play the track without the drums, and they have to come up with a drum part for a famous song that they're not familiar with. This has exploded for them. The views have skyrocketed. I think this is one of the, because you just see really famous people doing funny things. Even though oftentimes they're quite different, they are still spectacular performances. And once again, you get to see the craftsmanship of a professional doing something interesting. So my 2 things on this new feature that we have is filmmaking and the Drumeo Blind Challenge.
Yeah, you're right. Drumeo, super successful educational drumming website. That feature has exploded. It's not even like they're slightly known artists. They're huge. Chad Smith, Stuart Copeland. It's great to see them come up with something because a lot of times I know what the songs are. Yeah. So it's really neat to see what they come up with that might be different.
It's so successful. Justin, who sits next to me at work, brought it up one day. He's not even a musician, but like the algorithm gave it to him, and he was like, "This is amazing to watch these guys play this stuff." So they definitely hit it right with that new feature they have.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You know what else drives me crazy? You ever see an advertisement and they talk about 100 years of combined experience? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. There's 49 people working at the company. They got 100 years combined experience. You're supposed to be impressed.
So if you have 100 interns all working there and you put on your commercial that you have 100 years of combined experience, that means you have a company who has no idea how to do anything.
They've been in business for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yes. Listen, if you total all this up.
That's a great line. I heard something the other day and I couldn't figure out where it came from. It was soft on the skin, dapper on the eyes. I can't figure out where it came from. And it sounds a little creepy.
It does. But I'm intrigued.
Where did I hear that from? I've been searching for it on the internet. You know what happens a lot of times? my wife will have the TV on all night long and I'll be in and out of sleep. And as you know, by design, the longer you leave a TV on, the louder the volume gets without you hitting it. By 3 a.m, the volume's on about like 89. It's ridiculously loud. Even the pets can't sleep. I'll be in and out of sleep dreaming, and then I'll be hearing bits and pieces of movies that work their way into my dreams. I'll continue to research that, and if I find
Can't
anything,
wait to see what that is.
if I can track it down, I'll let you know. My niece sent me something around the holidays, which I thought was kind of sweet. Back in the mid-90s, as you know, I was in a ska band and used to play a lot in and around and outside of Long Island. And my niece happened to be, like a huge, huge fan. So I got some really cool street creds, being in a band and playing at all these places that like her and her younger friends used to go to. She used to dress punky. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I found it. I found a newspaper article that said something about the dangers in driving with platform shoes. And I had sent it to her just randomly. Or I think I was over at her house and I just put it on the refrigerator. She was young at the time. She was 17 years old probably. And I think I just put it on the refrigerator with a magnet or something like that. And this Christmas, she said that just the other day, she was thinking about that article. That's a long time ago. That's 30 years ago. And it just came out of left field. So I was kind of touched by that.
Yeah, that's a great story and also a great title for an album.
I mean, she's all grown up now, married, has a super cute daughter. So I thought I was kind of touched by that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny what leaves an impression on you. And I obviously, it was silly, funny. It was topical at the time, and it was a connection to you. So that's.
Hey, did you see any of the Ozzy Osbourne induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I did catch a few of them. Yes.
It was pretty fantastic. They had Jack Black.
Obviously, that seems right up his alley, I think.
Yeah, did the presentation and the speech, which I thought was good. It was a little sad though because they had Ozzy in this very cool looking chair. They kind of just rolled the chair out.
Yeah. That was a hard life, well lived, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's great that he was able to actually witness. Seriously, all those people that found inspiration in the amazing work that he did.
Yeah, it was nice to see his whole family was there, and they were obviously very touched.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good tribute. Chad Smith, who we just spoke about,
yeah,
played drums fantastically. Guy's in his mid-60s and still
killing it.
Still killing it. Recently, I've been hearing actually some of his best drumming.
It's funny how, maybe he's just stylistically, getting away from the Chili Peppers a little bit into venturing into new ground. But that guy punishes the drums. That he's got overhand swings. That is insane how hard he plays.
And I'm seeing him come up all over the place. He's very busy lately. I see him on all these pop-ups. Chad Smith showed up here. I don't know if it's all stuff that's booked out on his calendar. Yeah, I'm going to be in town Tuesday. I'll jump in, or just shows up and say, hey, I'm Chad Smith, Where's the drums? But it's really exciting. And I love seeing him all over social media.
And he's a character too. He
is. You had to have drank Nestle Quik when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take a sip of my coffee on that one.
That was a staple in the house.
Forget the coffee. I'm going to pour a glass of champagne right now. What a victory. This is great news.
It's a great day.
Attention, all Cool Dad podcast listeners. Rich Gristle drank Nestle Quik chocolate milk in the 70s. One of the greatest things was not only making it and drinking it, it came in that heavy duty cardboard box with that metal lid on it.
Yeah, you had to pry off the
game with your friends was always to see who could launch that lid the highest. So you'd press it down really hard on the top and then just position your spoon a little bit so it was dangling over the edge. You would give it a good whack to see how high you could launch the cap into the air. So not only was it delicious, it provided endless entertainment.
It was a total lesson in physics and how a lever works. Yes. See, if they just taught it that way in school, I might be a physicist today.
If your elementary science teacher brought in some Nestle Quik and said, we're going to learn about a lever today, It would have stuck with you.
Well, the great thing about that, it was you had control over how obnoxiously sugary your drink was going to become, right? This was not some pretty, you could heaping teaspoon after heaping teaspoon you could put in there.
You could put 3, you could put 2. It was up to you.
Well, that reminds me, back in the days of a million years ago when I used to eat cereal growing up, my mother, God bless her, she tried to dial down the sugar and the carbs a little bit. I remember instead of the Captain Crunch and Fruit Loops and all those great cereals, she came home with something like grape nuts or something like that. But she quickly found all the kids were putting 17 teaspoons of sugar on top of it, like way exceeding what the factory would have put into some Fruit Loops, So that was short-lived. We all went back, sadly, to horrible sugary cereals.
You had to overcompensate the horrible taste with more sugar.
Take that, Mom.
And one last thing about the Nestle Quik. Because of the design, you couldn't always get the remaining little bit of Quik. And so you would have to look for a very thick serrated knife. Now the activity becomes dangerous because now you got the cardboard box on its side. You're asking one of your buddies to hold it. As you machete chop it with whatever utensil you could find in the kitchen because you needed to get that last little bit of Quik out.
That's right. The remaining powder at the bottom.
The remaining little bit of Nestle Quik in that old-fashioned container is the same exact thing as dropping your guitar pick in your acoustic guitar.
That's right. You'll never see it again. I saw a funny meme about that. It showed a picture of a guy in a lab coat holding an acoustic guitar over his head and says, MIT scientist almost gets guitar pick out.
I was driving to work the other day and I saw this water tower. I passed the water tower numerous times, but when I looked at it, I then thought about hot air balloons. You don't really see hot air balloons really anymore. And then I started wondering, like, whoever thought that was a good idea of transportation and what's happened to hot air balloons. When they were popular, people didn't have cell phones. So like, how the hell do you get home? You got to have some idiot try to follow you like on a, I don't know. What do you take? I mean, you can't take a car. You'll never be able to triangulate the coordinates where that thing might have went. It takes a leftover 30 acres of cornfields. I mean, forget it. There's no finding this person.
You're gonna land in a gas station or the ocean.
I think I figured it out. The reason why there's no more hot air balloons is because all the idiots that wanted and had one, they're lost.
They've self-selected.
They've naturally deselected.
We're a better species for it.
Thank you for helping me clear this up.
I just had to work through it. That's all.
Maybe that'll be my documentary. What's happened to all the hot air balloons?
We'll interview the remaining people. We'll question their judgment. What's the future of a hot air balloon? Where's this going?
My dad, he's worried about, my kids driving, and he asked if we got AAA, and I said, no, we don't have AAA. And he kept pushing that we should get AAA. And he said, I'm going to get AAA. It costs next to nothing. It's good to have. And I said, Dad, you don't have to do that. And he said, no, I'm going to get you,
nice.
Going to get you some AAA. I want to make sure, if anything, while the kids are driving, they could just make a call and, your sister will have it. My sister got a flat tire on the way home from work recently. And I think that was the thing that really triggered it for him. So he said, can you please get AAA? I go to fill the thing out. As I'm filling it out, it asks for the email address. So I'm putting my dad's information in and I put his email address in and it's at AOL.com. And I'm not even kidding. This is the AAA website. A window opened up and said, do you mean... And it replaced this email address and it said at gmail.com. Even the AAA website has questioned the validity of his at AOL.com email address. What next? AARP. Can't even believe someone has an AOL email address. They're like, wait, did you say?
And that's not.
Did you say at prodigy.net?
That's not even like a typo. It's not like Gmol. Did you mean Gmail? No, it's not even. You bring up a good point, though, about roadside assistance. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago or so, I had a flat tire on the Northway up here. And I pulled to the side of the road. Fortunately, it was on the passenger side. And I changed it myself. But it was terrifying. That might be the last time I change a tire on a highway as long as I live. Just cars screaming past, people not paying attention. I swear to God, I think I will sit on the side of the Northway and wait for a triple. I would do it in a parking lot or something like that. But On the highway, I want flashing lights. Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Even just sitting in your car off the side of the highway,
Yeah.
the wind shake of the car from everybody
Yes.
speeding by.
It's terrifying. Yeah, I had Kelsey in the car. I told her to go wait up on the hill. I'm like, seriously, and she's like, what's going to happen? I'm like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. The whole thing was terrifying.
Hey, I read Creed had its highest grossing year in 2024.
So I saw them on tour. I didn't see them on tour. I saw that they were on tour this past year, and they had a ton of dates. It was good to see them back on the road again. We spoke how much we like them, but that's bigger than they were in the 90s.
Yeah, pretty impressive, right? They had 55 performances, 825,000 ticket sales, and they made just under 65 million. So great for them.
That's a good summer. That's a good summer. I think I know they had some personal problems for a while. I think they got those ironed out. They're probably just having fun these days. So good for them.
Everybody that I knew that saw them said they were incredible.
They came to SPAC. I didn't go see them. I should have.
I felt a little bit of FOMO after everybody's talking how great they were.
And
we talk about them on the show a lot. We love them.
Let's try to book them on the show for season 3.
I'll reach out to their people.
Sounds good.
I'll have to get a second microphone.
And point it the right way.
Make sure it's aimed correctly. Yeah. Actually, I'll ask him to bring his own. He's probably got one.
They probably have microphones.
Here's a funny, not so funny story. I think NPR covered this story that 2 men died in the woods while looking for Sasquatch. So I guess they weren't prepared for the elements. They went out, got themselves lost, and then I guess got real cold and died, which is very sad. What made it funny was NPR and Sasquatch in the same heading.
NPR might be struggling a little bit to retain their audience these days. But hey, at least those people died for a noble pursuit.
Absolutely.
We still don't have an answer, but it's nice to know people are still trying to find.
Who would you categorize as some of and I know I'm springing this on you, as some of the best male vocalists in rock and roll? I think we probably talked about this before too.
I think we did a showman thing and stuff like that. You want to give a little extra credit before the days of auto-tune, and not to get all classic Rocky, but you got Freddie Mercury and I'm drawing a complete blank right now.
Yeah, it's hard. I put you on the spot.
But they did it all without auto-tune. That was they had to get the performance. They had to get the performance right. And they kill. And even something as goofy as David Lee Roth, if you ever listen to the isolated vocals, like he's still a pretty good singer.
I brought it up just because I had a screenshot of a list that I saw. On their list, the number one singer was Steve Perry from Journey.
Oh yeah,
that's who they had.
I missed that one. Yeah, he's amazing.
There's definitely some on here that we missed. Lou Gramm from Foreigner.
Foreigner, yep.
He can hit some high notes. I think we might have talked about this band, but the guy from Steelheart. They also had Jimmy Jameson from Survivor, Peter Cetera from Chicago, Freddie Mercury, who we spoke about, Joseph Williams from Toto, Dennis DeYoung from Styx. Mm-hmm. They had Meatloaf on the list.
Interesting.
Tony Harnell from TNT, Michael Sweet from Stryper, Don Henley from the Eagles, and Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. That's who they
that
had.
guy can sing. Yeah.
That's who they had rounding out their list. So not necessarily like showmanship, but just some of the best vocals. And there's tons of others. I happened to glance at that, took a screenshot of it, thought I'd mention it on the show today.
I remember a million years ago when I had cable. Man, I can't even guess at a year. This had 2008, 2010. I don't even know. There was a show, I can't remember even what channel it was on cable, but they had this thing called a crossover, and they would take 2 different artists and put them together, and they would do each other's songs and stuff like that. And I remember they had Def Leppard and Taylor Swift when Taylor Swift was like kind of new, and she started singing a song. I'm like, oh wow, she's kind of hanging in there a little bit. And then Joe Elliott started saying, like, he is 100 times the singer that Taylor Swift is. Like, because she started, I mean, she's got a pleasant sounding voice, and obviously she's very famous and very good at what she does. But man, as soon as he started singing, it was night and day between what a really good singer sounds like.
And I had this conversation with somebody the other day at work about Ozzy Osbourne. You know, you look over his catalog of songs. His vocals are amazing. Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
And naturally, they're mixed really, really nice and layered. Strip them down. The guy still has fantastic range.
He can sing. Now, there's definitely, I don't know. Maybe it's a well-guarded secret. I don't know what the production is. It's definitely double-tracked and delayed. I mean, there's something that is the Ozzy sound. People talk about there must be the Ozzy sound because nobody sounds like whatever they're doing. But not to take anything away from him, he is an amazing singer.
He definitely deserved that induction. And I think about the solo stuff, the Black Sabbath stuff.
Everybody wanted to play with him. Yeah.
I just remember getting that Blizzard of Oz on cassette when I was a kid. I couldn't take it out of my radio. The number of D batteries I went through playing that. I mean, every song on there was a hit.
Dude, that's a great haircut you got there, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Fresh
you are
yesterday.
So cool.
Thank you. Yeah, Vinny.
Vinny for the win.
Yeah, my dad calls him Vinny Boombats.
You know my doctor, Vinny Boombats.
Vinny Boombats. Yeah, no, Vinny, fantastic job yesterday over there at Christopher's Cuts.
Nice. I'll give him a plug.
Yeah, they won't listen to the show, but I'll plug them anyway.
They would love this show.
If you listen to the show and you like it, please share it with someone that you think might enjoy it. Send them the link, recommend an episode.
I keep getting comments that it sounds like you're just hanging out with some buddies. And who doesn't like that?
Who doesn't like hanging out with the buddy?
Can you believe we're at season 3?
Oh, right before the show, we talk about my dad testing my love with hard to find delicacies. My wife tried to pull a fast one on me before I came down too. She's already on to me, right? She sees me up moving around the cabin here. She knows that I got a call with you. And she said, what are you doing? And I said, I got a call with Rich here at 9:30. She goes, oh, okay. I see 2025. You're still keeping up with your podcast and keeping that schedule with Rich. So she's already working me.
It feels like a setup, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like I know where we're going. I'm struggling now because I'm having internet issues. So I'm up and down, and she goes, "Oh, would you mind making me a cup of tea?" And I looked at her. I'm like, that I'm supposed to be on the phone with Rich in like 10 minutes, and she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "You're putting me in a real hard position here." And then she laughed, and I kind of knew the joke was up. And I was like, I will gladly make you tea as soon as the show's over. She said, no, that's okay. She was testing me.
Yep.
And I felt bad. I wanted to make her tea. I always do. I always do. But I was in a bit of a crisis this morning trying to get the internet working. And at that point, boiling the water and waiting those 4 minutes for that tea to steep would be like an eternity.
Yes. Time would actually slow down.
Yeah, my older daughter's in the kitchen last night. She takes out this nice giant orange and starts cutting it and slicing it up. And all of a sudden I had this flashback of her as a kid playing intramural soccer. There was always, whose week is it to bring the snacks? Whose week is it to bring the oranges? Which is very stressful. You got enough to worry about. And on top of that, somebody's real cute. Like, oh, let's create a schedule and see who brings the oranges, who brings the juice boxes for after the game. She's cutting the orange, and all of a sudden, a little whiff of that anxiety came along with that orange. And I thought, oh, that was such a nice time. It's a shame that it had to be ruined. Some over-controlling parent, that wanted to run a schedule and make other parents have to do things. Let me show up on my own. Let me forget to bring any sort of hydrating thing for my daughter. Now you got me on the spot publicly here.
Well, worse than that, you forget the hydration for the entire team. You don't want to be that
exactly.
guy.
Yeah, those are the stakes. That's what they do to you.
Yeah, and it's funny you started with the power of the sense of smell connecting to memory. I just had this experience a couple weeks ago. There's a local restaurant, small chain here called Druthers. I went in to use the restroom, and the urinal thing in there that's scented had a really strong peach scent. It instantly took me to like 1988 in college when all the girls would order a fuzzy navel, which was peach schnapps and orange. I think peach schnapps and orange juice. I have to fact check on that one. But I'll never forget being around college girls with that intense smell of peach. It took me, dude, in a millisecond, it took me back to Plattsburgh in that setting. Just a ridiculous fake smell of peach.
Next thing you knew, you were smelling Polo cologne and Aussie hair mousse.
Yes. Oh, you just painted a whole picture.
Your nose was going ballistic at that point.
Yes, all of the above.
Over the history of the show, that could have been one of your greatest lines ever. Dude, you smell like the 90s. Christmas for us is busy. We finally got through the holidays. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, great. We're headed into this weekend. New Year's is behind us. I'm starting to feel some relief from all this chaos. And I don't know why, but as I'm driving, I'm feeling very caught up in life. Thankfully, it lasted about 7 minutes. And I know this is not a big deal, but here I am. I'm thinking to myself, I can finally take a breath. Maybe this weekend I can relax a little bit. Who knows? I mean, the possibilities are endless. And as I'm getting in the car driving, I see the change oil light comes on. So now I'm like, I'm right back thrown into it again. Here we go. My list is already starting again on stuff that I'm behind in. I got 2 cars now. I got to get the oil changed. You know, what next? And it was a very small little thing, but I just felt like my peacefulness didn't last, nearly as long as I hope without having the list is already building. We're 5 days in, and I'm already, and not that changing the oil is a big deal, but you understand my point, right? I'm thinking,
yes,
I don't have a list, and now my car is even giving me the list.
You couldn't have one day of peace.
Let me drive in. Oh, I got out the door. My wife didn't need anything. The kids didn't ask me for any. The kids were asleep when I left. They didn't need no rides, no money. They didn't have to go anywhere. No one had to work. I think, I got it. Let me just get in the car. I can drive in, pull out of the driveway. Ding, ding. Change oil. Thought I heard the door.
Oh, there's the door.
I do hear the door. Yeah. Let's see what's going on here.
Where's
this is
my
always
tea?
Exciting. Did you need money or something? Would you need my debit card? Rich, could this come at any better timing?
Okay.
She's coming back down. Let me give her some money, and then
Okay.
I'll fill you in where the rest of the story's going. Let's get this on tape. This is going to come back to me. I'm going to be in trouble at the end of this. I hope this is a good podcast because it's going to be the only one for me in season 2025. This will be a signing off, folks.
Wow, it's so weird. Season 3 had 1 episode.
It'll be like people will be listening for a few months, and it'll finally dawn on them. They're like, whatever happened to that guy that used to be on with Rich? We haven't heard from him in a while.
We never speak of it. It's just my show now. I'd never say what happened.
Just exactly completely ignored.
I cropped the icon down to just me.
I love that. Characters fall off shows and they never address it. Yeah, why were there 3 different daughters on that Roseanne show? No one ever questioned it.
Famously, Bewitched, there was 2 Darrens, and it
Multiple
never acknowledged
Darrens.
It was just a new guy.
Yeah, we got a new Darren this season. Shh, don't say anything. They'll never know.
I think Happy Days didn't
Richie's
have a brother or something?
Richie had a brother.
Just vanished.
Disappeared. Yeah. Seinfeld's parents were different too.
Oh, like in the pilot or so, or the very early on.
Yeah. They had one set of parents and then another set of parents. All right, dude.
All right, man. Have a good week. We got some good stuff here.
Yeah, I'll catch up with you soon.
All right. See you, man.
All right. Later. Bye.